everybody. It is the end of June and it is so hot out. It is already 86. It says it feels like 96 degrees out. It's 10 a.m. It is one of those summers. It's going to be horrible. I am already sweating before I even begin this tour. I am going to do a tour of the front garden bed and show you what's in bloom at the moment. This will be the first tour of my front garden bed that I've done this season, and I've missed a lot of things that were in bloom. So whatever is not in bloom at the moment, I will put some photos up and I'll tag some names as well as we go because I'm sure I won't remember everything, which is usually the case for me. So I'll try to make this quick because it is hot and I'm trying to get this done before the sun reaches this side of the house. So follow me to the front garden. Okay, starting out here in the very front of the house. I'm going to walk around this way. I've noticed I don't have a ton of things in bloom. It is so hot out. They've already done their first blush. So we'll just kind of walk through here quickly and name off some things. What is starting to bloom though is my Aussie Queen hibiscus. It's absolutely gorgeous. It has one blossom open on it at the moment. Beautiful. Coloration on these leaves is gorgeous. A little bit of pink in here. And somehow when I put the soil in here, it seeded itself with these vincas and some petunias. I did not put those in there, but they appeared on their own. I have some various things in here, some coreopsis, Montauk daisies that which have not bloomed in like the last 2 years, and some calabacoa. This one is, oh, I don't know the name. The tag is broken, but anyway, it's something melon. It's really pretty. And this is a native milkweed that I just purchased. It is called native milkweed. I don't know if it actually has an actual variety on it. So I'm going to put this out in my woodland garden area. Trying to do away with buying the tropical milkweeds. My sunshine ligustrum are looking good on this end. They get a lot of sun. Over here they don't get quite as much, so you can see the difference in the color. This is more green, and that is the color they're supposed to be when they're in full sun. See, I have some coleus down here that I planted maybe a month or so ago. The one in the back is called, well, the back one and this one is called Spiced Curry. That one is called Marble Mania. They are absolutely gorgeous, especially right here underneath of my Bloodgood Japanese maple. And then this is a brand new little lime hydrangea. I had to replace one that died over the winter. It is putting off some blooms. And I have 3 more. There's one right there, one back there, and then this one is putting a little bit of growth on. I had to come in here and redo some of the soil around the roots that was starting to cave in. And my assumption is when it does that, it's because I've got it planted underneath of this crepe myrtle tree, and the roots are very massive and they extend way out to here. So I'm always cutting into the roots of this crepe myrtle when I plant things. Right behind that, I have some Daydream loropetalum. These were all planted about the same time. This one was actually a replant because it died, so that's why that one's so tiny. But the Daydream is one of my favorite loropetalums. Beautiful color, and they don't get very tall. This one down here is probably about as tall, maybe a foot taller, about as tall as it'll get. See, but back here, it's not in bloom at the moment. These are old blooms, but this is called Dear Dolores Macrophylla hydrangea. I planted this one here because I had another little lime, and I think I lost 3, so I gave up on putting another little lime there. So let's see what this specifications are. It says it is 5 by 5 high and wide. It's a very pretty kind of a periwinkle blue color. And I'm sure it's going to put some more blossoms on because my macrophylla seem to bloom throughout the summer. And then I have a row of 5 lemon lime nandinas. This one down here was planted at the same time, but it's just no idea why it's not keeping up with the rest of them. It's almost like it hasn't put any growth on at all. And then these are ever, I think they're called ever amethyst. I want to say that's the name. Ever amethyst agapanthus. I'll put a picture up of them. They are gorgeous when they're blooming. They're done. And you can see they're kind of reaching out that way. And it's because the crepe myrtle, this time of year, it is so overgrown from the blooms that it doesn't get any sun at the time that these agapanthus actually need full sun. So I'm about to come in here and cut this down, these branches down. But it is gorgeous how it drapes over my sidewalk. I just think it's really pretty. It's kind of like a canopy when you walk through here. It was really pretty when all of these were in bloom. And it was full of bees, but they've pretty much left this plant because there's not much pollen left on it. Down here I have a cryptomeria. I think that one's called Manna globosa. And then I just planted this is a rainbow, Ascot rainbow euphorbia. I've never had one of these, but I've seen them in other videos, and I thought that was very pretty and a good size to put right here. A little bit of color. Back there in the back is a cherry explosion hydrangea. It has not grown much this year, and I just put it in the ground last late spring or summer. It did have some blooms on it then, but I think it's putting its roots in because it looks really healthy. Then up here I have some Veitchii gardenias that I just planted. You can see they're struggling. They've been struggling ever since I put them in the ground, but I think they're going to come out of it and start putting on some new growth. And then right here in front of it, I put in a kaleidoscope abelia, and my one in the back got really big, so I did leave space because I think it's going to take up that whole area. And I have a lantana back here. I don't have the name of that one because I didn't put the tag in the ground, so I do not remember very well the names of lantanas. These are all firepower nandinas that I moved. They were on this whole front row, and so I moved them into this grouping because they weren't doing well. And you can see the 2 on this end are actually starting to put some growth on finally. I think they just didn't like where they were at to begin with. And I mean, obviously it's not that much of a change in spacing, but for some reason they're doing a little bit better down here on this end. If they don't change and shapen up, then I'm going to probably get rid of those. I may keep 3, a grouping of 3. I need to cut back my candy corn spirea. It is massively growing into my Tamukiyama Japanese maple tree. And the tree has put on a ton of growth since I put it in the ground probably 2.5 or 3 years ago, maybe. This I just picked up. It's called Gazania Big Red Kiss. So I think I'm going to stick it here in this spot. I think that'll be a good spot for it. The contrast of the touch of gold holly and my pretty little ginger love fountain grass. And I have my fountain turned off at the moment because I've got to do some work on it. I think the pump is blocked because it's not pumping water very well. So I'm going to have to get the water out of there, pull the fountain up off of I think I've got it set on some bricks in there. Just kind of pull it to the side and see if I can get that fountain cleaned up. I mean, the pump cleaned up. I have right here on each side of the steps, these plants were here when we bought the house. So was the Indian hawthorn in the back. So this was all that was here was the Indian hawthorns and these um, gardenias. These are probably Radicans gardenia. That's the closest thing I could find that these resemble. They've got a very pretty scent. Just now starting to bloom. Let's look over here. Another touch of gold holly. I just put these wild berry echinacea in the ground because I had some foxglove and they died. And back here, I have these all cerise charm. I have 3 of them, loropetalums. Let me zoom out. I need to do some trimming on them. I need to take off about 2 feet of growth. These were put in the ground just a little over a year ago and they have exploded. They look amazing. They are taking over, not taking over, but you cannot see the hawthorn, the Indian hawthorn behind them. So I need to cut these down just a little bit so they're at least the same height as those behind it. Now, these down here are Obsession Nandinas. Um, they're doing okay. This one's got a little bit more color on it because it's getting a little bit more sun than these down here on this side. Let's back out of here. These are Stella Ruby daylilies that are not blooming, and for the last 2 years they have not bloomed. Another candy corn spirea. I'm going to trim this. It's getting into the walkway. And then I just picked up these, I think they're called Be Bright. Yeah, Be Bright pentas. I'm going to put them right here. So this whole area, I had some Love in a Mist mulberry rose that reseeded from last year, and they looked amazing at the time. And so I need to fill this area in with these pentas. And I'm hoping that they will reseed again next year, and they probably will. And it may even be more extensive. And this is a storm cloud Amsonia. It's been in the ground for a little over a year, and it did bloom early on in the spring. And some purple fountain grass with some Let's Dance Skyview that are in bloom. Look how beautiful that color is. It's not the exact color on the screen. It's a little bit brighter. It's a very pretty bluish purple color. These are, I have 3 of these. Those are Spilled Wine Weigela. This is a Proven Winners Pugster Amethyst. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. Well, 5 if you count the one in the back that was dying and I recuperated it. Half the branches died on it, but that would make 5. This is an Indian Feather Gara putting on some new growth. I forgot to deadhead the old spent blooms. So now I've got old spent blooms up here and new blooms that are opening lower. This is another Pugster Amethyst. And this is a Carly Rose Pennisetum. It's going out of bloom. Looks like the plumes are going out. I wonder if I could resow those. I don't know. I don't know much about harvesting seeds off of a fountain grass. That's a Dragon Prince Cryptomeria. These are some, I think these are something Nile. They're Agapanthus. I can't remember what the name of it is. It's the most common one and probably the cheapest one to buy. But these have been in the ground for not quite a year, so they haven't bloomed yet. And some beautiful poison ivy that sprouts up everywhere. There's a butterfly bush. Don't know the variety. I guess it's a Buddleia Davidii. That's been there about a year and maybe a year and a half. This rose right here, I bought it at a garden show. Let's zoom back out. Bought it at a garden show last spring. So it's been in the ground for about 14 months. The guy didn't know what variety it was and told me it was very vigorous. And when I put it in the ground, it was only about 2 feet high. Now it has grown considerably tall. So, I mean, I can keep it maintained on this little obelisk if I need to. Watch out for that poison. Back here in the very back, I have a Forever Goldie that is it's doing pretty good. It probably doesn't get enough sun, but it's in color. It has the gold edging. It looks really pretty. I'm hoping that thing will fill up that corner. This is a strawberry, I think it's strawberry sundae or vanilla strawberry hydrangea. I moved it here from my woodland garden and last year or a year and a half ago, and it hasn't bloomed here, but it's doing a lot better. It's a lot healthier here. It has a lot of growth on it, foliar growth, but no blooms. So I may eventually just move it to a different area where it can get more sun. And I have a white shishi camellia right here. That thing is absolutely gorgeous when it's in bloom, but it only blooms in the winter. But it is gorgeous. It blooms around Christmas time. These are some Carex. I think they're Everest maybe, Carex. I have a cranberry hibiscus. I have several that I took cuttings from last year. And I had one here last year in this spot and it bloomed. Even though it didn't get a lot of sun, it still had a lot of blooms on it. So I put another one here and it's doing pretty well. My Chicago Peace Rose is not doing good. It has bloomed, but it doesn't get enough sun. So I'm probably going to move this to a different spot. Deadhead this while I'm standing here. And some Dalmatian Peach Foxglove. They don't seem to do good in our climate. I don't know. It just gets really hot here. But these are in shade, so they're still hanging on. Another Buddleia Davidii butterfly bush. This is an Eclipse hydrangea. I put it in the ground about a year ago, and it's healthy. It's looking good. The first year it was struggling so bad the leaves were always wilting. But Eclipse hydrangeas usually have a very pretty kind of a mauvey, reddish mauvey colored bloom. Mine this year put on purple, which is really strange. I guess my soil is extremely acidic here. I don't have to do the ammonium sulfate to make my blooms blue. They just automatically turn that color. This is a little giant arborvitae. Should get about 4 foot by 4 foot. I think it's very slow growing. It's been in the ground about a year, and it has put on a tiny, tiny bit of growth. Back here, I have a couple of different coleus. The ones in the back are Wicked Hot, and I think the ones in the front is something with the word Indian in it. I'll have to look it up, but I think they're needing watered more often because they're not growing super fast, and the Wicked Hot is not as hot. It's more orange right now, so they don't get a lot of sun, but I needed something that could tolerate a lot of shade, and these can. So there's some more gardenias, the Veitchii gardenias. These are doing good. This one's new on this side right here. Had to replace one that died in the snow that we had, which we don't really get snow very often, but it killed that one. These two died back all the way to the ground, and they put on a lot of growth. Some more sunshine ligustrums, some red orange rocket barberry in the back. These don't get as much sun as my other orange rockets do, so they've got some green in there and some orange and some maroon. This one over here is mostly green with a little bit of the tipping on it that's colored from the little bit of sun that it gets. But hey, they're alive, they're thriving, I guess, even though they're not getting full sun. And then these are pineapple, proven winners, pineapple something coleus. I can't remember the name. I'll have to put that up on the screen as well. These are so pretty. Vibrant, chartreuse colored. I have a sweet tea olive right here. It's not in bloom at the moment, but if you don't have one, you should get one because the blooms on these smell amazing. Very sweet scented. It's a scent that I don't even know how to describe. It's amazing. These right here are some Rose of Sharon, Althea, that my neighbor gave me as cuttings. They were like 8-inch cuttings about 3 years ago. I stuck them in a cup of water. They took root within a few weeks, and then I literally just stuck them in the ground right here, and look at them. Amazing. These have really pretty blossoms on them. See if I can get a picture of one in the light. Beautiful. I'm thinking behind my greenhouse where I want to kind of build a natural fence to kind of hide that side back there from the barn. I'm thinking that this would be a beautiful fence, these Rose of Sharon. So, because I think they get enough sun back there that I think they would do really well, and they grow fast. So I'm thinking I might take some cuttings, several cuttings. It'll be probably 3 years, before I get my live fence, but it would be a very cheap way to go, and it would be beautiful. So I think that's what I'm going to do. All right, let's go back around and show the front side of the sidewalk. Okay, this whole area on the outside of the sidewalk and this whole bed was done. I think I started it the fall of 2023, so it's not quite 2 years old yet. So this is purple fountain grass, and these are the blush pink nandinas. They are colored up really well in the sun, but they're very short in contrast to my other ones. Some more proven winners. I have to put the cages around these because these two are new. They have been replaced. My ginger kitty loves to chase butterflies, and he jumps on top of these, and the branches break so easily. So he killed one by doing that. And the other one is in my back garden, back there behind the house, with one branch alive still. I'm not a gardener that likes to toss things just because it doesn't look good. I will put it somewhere else, see if it can survive, because I'm a frugal gardener, even though I spend almost all my extra money on plants. So that's a Plexer amethyst. These are vintage, I think they're called vintage white salvia, planted from seed last spring. They came back and they're looking beautiful. The bees love these. Okay, and this is a Proven Winners Rose of Sharon. It is the white pillar, and I haven't got to see it bloom yet. I put it in the ground about 2 or 3 months ago. It's got some buds on it, so it's not far from blooming. This thing gets like 3 feet wide, I believe, by I want to say 8 feet tall. So this seemed to me to be the perfect spot for it. A little bit of height in this bed that doesn't have a lot of height in it, and very narrow so it won't crowd out my plants and it won't get into the walkway. And there's some more blush pink nandinas. These look really good. Now the ones in my back are twice the size of these. They get more shade back there, so they do okay. I mean, they do good in the full sun. They just seem like they kind of get halted a little bit with the full sun on it. These are Pacific Ocean dahlias that I planted last spring from bare tuber, and they came back and they're looking really good. And then I planted this dahlia from tuber this spring. This is called Firebird, and I got to see one blossom so far, and honestly it doesn't even look like the photo. The photo on the Firebird pack, I can't say Firebird, the photo was more of a red with an orange and yellowish center, I believe. Yeah, it doesn't look like that. It's kind of a maroon color, so I don't know if they labeled it wrong or what, but I seem to have a lot of luck with getting mislabeled plants. Another candy corn spirea that is still has some blossoms on it. Super pretty. I love this plant. These are Asian garden celosia that self-seeded from last year. They can get out of hand. Just pull them up if there's too many, but they seem to just self-sow readily. I have a Blazing Star Biden down here. There's 3 of them actually. I need to do a harder cut back on them because they're not looking good, and I do see it might be another set of blooms coming out possibly, but that's super duper tiny. I don't know. I do see some new buds, but they don't look very big. I guess we shall see. And these are, trying to remember, so I don't have to look at the tag, Ruellia. They remind me of a petunia. It's a very pretty color. Let me look at the tag because I do want to know what the name is. I don't remember. All right, those are called KT Purple. I have 3 of them. Look at this massive display of Asian garden celosia. Now, I bought those seeds off of Baker's Creek last spring of 2024. So this is something that you could plant if you want it to take up a lot of space. A beautiful cottage look. Down here is a Rose Rhapsody Salvia. It's not in bloom at the moment. I did cut down some blooms that it had on it. It looks like something's eating at it. I sowed quite a bit of these last spring, and I only had 1 that germinated, but the tiny little seed put off a really nice sized plant, and it did come back. So happy about that. I may buy some more of those next year and just see if I can get some more of those to germinate. This is a Walker's Low Catmint. It is doing really good. I did take some cuttings from this to put out in my rose garden in the back because I had some Whisper Blue Catmint out there that did really well for about 2 months, and then I noticed it started turning brown, and both of them died within like 2 weeks of each other. So I don't know what the problem was, but this one seems pretty vigorous, so I'm probably going to put some of this out there. Okay, that is pretty much my front garden bed. I'm going to get out here and I'm going to cut these branches down, give some sun to the much needed sun back there in the area where it's not getting any, and maybe some of that stuff will start coloring up and putting on some blooms. My son and his family will be here tomorrow. They are in Galveston for a couple of days. The children, well, the 2 youngest have never been to America, so they are getting to enjoy the American beaches in Texas. They flew into Houston, so that was the closest beach for them. But I'm excited to see them tomorrow. They're going to stay with me for maybe 10 to 12 days. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Hope you have a wonderful, hot June day. Bye-bye.